To the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the defining moments that shape extraordinary people into who we become. Today's guest is Darren Richardson, a mindset and mental performance coach, motivator, two times amputees, and founder of the Arches and Saint Coaching. At the road, a hiking incident crushed Darren's foot, leading to amputation. That doctor said would end his passion for rock climbing and ski racing good. He refused to accept that particular outcome. He was rock climbing within 3 months and skiing within six. That section carried him through 18 years as a firefighter, and paramedic through PTSD and rock bottom and through his second amputation in the fall that he again refused to let define his limits. Darren, it's a pleasure and honor to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be
Yeah,
here.
thank you so much, Darren. So, Darren, before the fire service, who were you as a boy growing up with generational trauma and an absent father? And what did that early environment teach you about resilience?
Yes, I grew up with an alcoholic father. As far back as I can remember, he was absent, and I'm the oldest of three children. And my mother raised three children on her own. We would see my father occasionally, but there was always alcohol involved, very unreliable. So, as the oldest child, I needed to step up and help at a very young age. So I kind of lost some of my childhood in a sense, having to grow up too fast. And that taught me more or less a little bit of resilience that I had to care for younger kids when I was a child.
Yeah, whoa.
And yeah, so a little different upbringing. We lived in a beautiful area, so we were fortunate there. My mother worked very hard as just a school teacher. So she worked, like I said, very hard in raising us as best she could. But I think having the alcoholism in the family really set kind of a tone in a sense that led me to be resilient early in life and train me for the future.
Oh, that was a whole lot. Having to
Yeah.
having to have a father, and anytime you came in contact with him is drunk. That must have easily seen it. A very bad example. Oh,
Yeah.
now your foot was crushed by a bull during a hike. Walk us through that particular day and 4 hours rescue, and what was going through your mind as it was happening.
Yeah. So I was 13 years old. I was hiking with a friend with his family, and there was a couple other families nearby. My friend and I decided to veer off trail and play around in a kind of a boulder ridden area, and one of the rocks broke loose and fell. The rock was roughly about the size of a small car,
Oof.
and it landed only on my foot. So I was fortunate there. It would have killed me if it fell on me. Luckily, the hill was so steep that I wasn't trapped. The boulder kept rolling, and that
Oh.
was fortunate. However, we were in the back country, and then they had to call out search and rescue. This was, in the 1990s, so there were no cell phones, and it took a long time to get help and rush me to the local hospital where initially they were going to amputate my leg below the knee that evening. I was fortunate enough, bunch of lucky events, but the surgeon chose to evaluate it and just pin my foot back together and see what would happen. And after numerous surgeries and 3 weeks in the hospital, they decided only to need to amputate 2 toes and do a ton of reconstructive surgery and skin grafting. But at the end of the day, it was obviously a pretty traumatic event. And from that, again, that resilience kind of came up. Initially, I was told that I would walk with a limp the rest of my life. I wouldn't be able to do anything. And I didn't understand that at 13. So I pushed forward. And again, like you said, I started rock climbing 3 months after, and I was ski racing, which both of those, they had told me I would never do rock climbing never again, and ski racing maybe in a few years. So,
That was really a whole lot. The fact that the rest being told by those older ones being that you were still in your teen and he dancing all the others and I was like, ouch, I can do it.
yeah.
So you were rocking and climbing again 3 months after the injuries and sky up within 6 months. What did that recovery actually require of you physically and mentally that doctor did not account for?
Yeah. So physically, I had to go through a lot of physical therapy, but I just kept pushing harder because I had a goal. I wanted to do these things. I didn't really, when a child becomes an amputee, they really just want to be normal again.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I struggled with that, saying, well, I'm not technically normal anymore, but I want to be. So I'm going to do everything I
Yeah.
can to be normal. And I had that mindset growing up, and it helped. I feel like it served me in that point. And then, getting back into the mental game more, I didn't want to have limits. They gave me limits of you'll never do things again. And I was kind of a rebellious 13-year-old kid and really didn't like having put limits on me because they didn't know me.
Mm.
They didn't know growing up without a father. They didn't
Mm.
know how
Yeah.
internally strong I really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you make reference to the father.
Yeah.
They try to put the limits on you, but oh, you growing up without the father. That was. Ever consider yourself disabled or different after the injury? What that mindsets come from at such young age, and how did it protect you from older?
Yeah. I think it was always, the mindset has always been in me to push harder in a sense, or don't hold back. And young, I had to take care of my little brothers a little bit and would encourage them to try hard. And so I think I just put that in my head at the same time. And that helped me in the future I, after growing up, after high school, I went off to college, and then I became a firefighter and a paramedic to help people.
Mm.
It's a physically demanding job. I enjoyed doing it. I loved doing it. And that resilience of not giving up really has always stuck with me, because again, I notice that you know, sometimes you have an injury or a setback and people may not move forward. And then you can develop more of a victim mindset. And that wasn't me. I never really developed that. And by becoming a firefighter and helping others, I could prove to myself and prove to others that I could still do
Yeah.
the same job, and I wasn't any different.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So you became a fighter and paramedic, just the way you just make reference. So I'll serve the decade. What drew you to that career? Build around showing off for
Uh,
other people was moment.
I think what drew me to the career was I'd always enjoyed helping people, and really my personal experience of having to be rescued by the fire department and search and rescue, and seeing that kind of environment. And I've always loved more of the extreme kind of world. I never really considered myself someone who's going to work in a desk the rest of my
Yeah.
life. I liked the action. And so it drew me to that. And I did that, nearly 2 decades. But from that, I also saw there's a downside to being a first responder and having the mindset of I'm tough, I can do this. I fell into a trap and I developed post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from everything that I saw and had experienced over that time as a paramedic and a firefighter. And that drew me down a rough course, so to speak. Yeah.
Oh, that was really good. So after the years of frontline, now you develop PTSD and it's rock bottom, including alcohol, and self-destructive that nearly costs you and your family. What actually look like from the inside?
Yeah. So I started struggling a little bit. And the unfortunate thing is I didn't notice it.
Mm.
My attitude would change a little bit. I developed a little bit more anger. I think I started drinking a lot to kind of cope with some of the calls that I had been involved
Mm.
with, or some of the traumatic experiences I had seen. And it was more or less to numb the pain. And then I noticed it was more to try to sleep at night. I would have nightmares. And so after a couple of years of this, and putting on a happy face at work and enjoying the job, which I really did
Yeah.
enjoy, I noticed it was taking a big toll on me. My wife had noticed as well. We have at the time had two young kids, and I would bring work home, unfortunately. And so it was decided I leave the fire service. We actually moved from Colorado to Idaho and started over. But I thought that would help. And unfortunately, I was too proud at the time to ask for help.
Mm.
I thought I could handle it on my own. Firefighters are helpers
Yeah.
and we handle things on our own. And unfortunately, that was a mistake and I was wrong. And I suffered a few more years working odd jobs, trying to get by, still drinking. And really, I wasn't present with my family. And that's unfortunate, trying to raise two kids. And what I saw was actually myself becoming my father. And that's when I realized my family was going to leave and I needed help. And so I went and I sought therapy, which truly saved my life and very much helped me. I did some what's called EMDR treatments, and that's got me back on my path. And like I said, saved my life and really got me to see the light again. I quit drinking and I became more present with my family and actually decided I did love the fire service and I was trying to get back in. I was actually, after several years, taking the tests, going back to the gym, I had always been into fitness and I had let that go for a while and started going to work out again and training again to become a firefighter.
Mm. Yeah,
And
amazing.
yeah,
A whole lot of things you get to do different. And I think it was really lovely. I think I just love the fact being that, yeah, you really need your family, especially when to discover that, which I'm taking a similar path as my dad, and that's not what you really want. And I'm glad that you're able to pivot and be able to ask for help at that particular critical point.
mm,
If you pursue a second career in fire service or then face a second amputation, they would degrading injury. What did it like to face that gain as an adult after already providing yourself at 30?
yeah. So it was actually while I was training to become a firefighter again at 45 years old, which is somewhat rare to enter the fire service again at that age. Usually, you're in your
Yeah.
20s, maybe in your 30s. I knew what it takes to get back into that job physically. So I was working out very hard, trying to basically keep up with people half my
Yeah.
age, and I ended up having a lot more pain because of the training in my foot. So I went and saw a surgeon, and a long time ago, they had told me there's always a chance we might have to remove your remaining
Mm.
toes from arthritis. And when I went, I was expecting that. The surgeon said it's not that simple. They did some x-rays and tests and found that the bones in my foot were degrading and it would require a second amputation of half of my foot this time.
Oh,
So that was option A. Option B, if that didn't take, was again, if I had problems with it, would be another amputation of below my knee. Because I'm very physically active, those were my two options. So I opted for the amputation of half my foot, which was just over 1 year ago. And everything I had to see some specialists just due to the complexity of the original injury. I had to see a plastic surgeon to see if it was even possible to create a skin flap to cover that portion of the foot, which all has worked out well. I saw a prosthetic specialist who has built me a prosthetic for working out, and everything has been going great since. After the amputation, I did a lot of reflecting on my life, on where I've been, where I'm going, and realized that I feel like I could make more of a difference as a coach,
yeah.
as a mindset and resilience and mental performance coach. So I gave up that career path of becoming a firefighter, which was a tough decision. And like I said, I truly enjoyed it and loved that career, but I feel like I could make more of a difference. And I actually coach that mindset, mental performance, resilience coaching geared to anyone that wants to overcome their challenges, but especially to first responders, veterans, and amputees. Because I feel like my story needs to be told, and I have the lived experience to coach people in that because I've literally walked in those shoes.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for saying, oh, a
Yeah.
whole lot in here, and the fact that, yeah, you had to kind of coming into being and a whole lot of different things, and just reflection, you're able to come back and work on different things. Yeah, it's really amazing. So looking back at the boy who refused the limitation he was given now, what are you most grateful about that injury because of the man, the coach it has eventually made you?
I am grateful for my life. I look through a different lens now. I see that I could look at it as I didn't have a great childhood and having a victim mindset, but I don't. I actually truly believe growing up with an alcoholic father was a gift. I believe that rock that crushed me was a gift. I believe the PTSD that I suffered through is a gift. And now I want to give back. All this adversity that I went through was training me to do what I was meant to do, and that is help others and coach and get my story out with speaking, being a motivational speaker, and coaching those who really want to rise up and hit their goals. And that's what I do now. I believe all of that was setting the stage, and it was a gift to me.
Yeah, amazing. All one of them was a gift. It was, yeah, amazing. So look, so
Yeah.
since suffering with your daughter 3 months after the second amputation, now against the will of the the doctor when it means
Yes.
to you, and what does it say about the mindset you teach others?
Yes, it was. I went wake surfing, which we love to do, and it was 3 months after my second amputation. I was told again by professionals that I wouldn't wake surf
Yeah,
again. I wouldn't be able to run again. And because of all of the history that I had, I challenged it. And actually, on Father's Day of last
yeah,
year, I went wake surfing with my two daughters. And ironically, we just celebrated Father's Day here the other day, and I went wake surfing again with my oldest daughter.
mm,
Now, just over a year after my amputation, and it was a nice little Father's Day gift and an anniversary, so to speak, and hopefully a tradition now.
yeah,
And really, I carry that to my coaching and saying if I can do it, and I challenged those limits that had been set on me numerous times throughout my life, and that's how I
yeah,
coach. If someone tells you you can't do something, at least challenge it and see, because again, they don't know you. The one thing that I tell a lot of clients is the one thing that can never truly be measured is your heart
yeah,
and the drive inside of your heart.
yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Such as send coaching to help first responder, veteran amputees. What is the core belief behind that work, and where did it come from?
Uh, yeah, I was searching for a name that would really show some inspiration, and I chose Ashes to Ascent literally because when I hit my rock bottom, I just felt like I was in the ashes. I was in the fire and I rose from it. The story of the
Yeah,
phoenix rising from the ashes and overcoming some sort of adversity. And I wanted to name my company something of
mm,
inspiration. And so that's what I chose. And I live by it. It's truly a mantra for me to rise out of those ashes and help people understand that they can do that as well.
yeah, amazing. Help people. Yes, they can do it also. Yeah, thank you for what you do,
Yeah.
Darren. And it's also about raising awareness about mental health in the fire service. What do you wish more first responder understand about TSD before it reach a breaking?
I really would love any first responders, veterans, anybody to really understand that it's okay to ask for help. There are programs available in the first responder world. It is relatively new to admit that you're struggling, that you're having problems. It's a cultural issue, unfortunately. You have to be tough to do that job, but mental health is very important. And the longevity of the rescuers is extremely important. And it's unfortunately in the culture that we don't ask for help. And that's a mistake. It's wrong. Like I said, there are programs out there. It's becoming more known, but I want to raise awareness again because I fell through the cracks. I had to leave the fire service by my own choice when I could have simply asked for help. And I truly think the hardest thing I ever did in my life was it wasn't running into burning buildings. It wasn't going into dangerous situations. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life was picking up the phone and calling a therapist and saying the words, I need help.
Yeah.
So I want that message to go
Mm,
out to all first responders, veterans, amputees, and truly anybody that it's okay to ask for help. Get the help you need because on the other side of that darkness is so much
yeah.
light.
Amazing. I think this is really lovely being that you start decision towards reaching out owing to your ego and pride, and now you make it easier for others to easily make that decisions without having to stay at the other side of the darkness. Yeah. Thank you so much once
Yeah.
again for what you're doing. Alongside with your wife, an ER nurse and holistic wellness coach, how partnership shaped your approach healing with your clients?
Yeah, so I work alongside my wife is still an ER nurse, and she's also a holistic wellness coach. I really give credit to my wife. She had become a coach before me several years ago, and I saw the benefit of coaching and what she is doing to help others in that. We work alongside each other now. Her company is Blue Skies Wellness, and she works with women, to empower women and help them rise. She also works a lot with the spouses of first responders because she has that lived experience. And together, we we have separate companies, but we work alongside each other, and that helps us support each other and support our clients in any way that we possibly can. It's truly our calling and what we're meant to do.
Yeah, me so much. So lastly,
Yeah.
what story give to the child or adult right now who has been that there's something they will never do again?
I would tell them to challenge that statement. They know in their heart if they can do it
Yeah.
again. And don't believe stories. Don't believe something somebody else tells you. Believe your own story
Mm,
and at least try. You may have to modify. And in my experience, I was told I'd never run again. I can run, but I also had a prosthetic
mm,
made that assists in that. And it's okay to have an assist.
mm.
And so even if you have to adapt and modify in any way, you can still do anything you want.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, there's no measurement of the human spirit, the human drive in the heart. So go for it and challenge it. And at least you gave it an effort.
Yeah. There is no moment of human dread at heart. Yeah, and keep showing up. Wow. I mean, so much, Darren. This has really been an eye-opening episode, and just hearing your current having to kind of stand up the late after falling down like 2, 3 times. It's really amazing. I'm like, oh, how did Darren do it differently? And of the fact that every of those particular setback, different body were gifts. I was like, "Ouch." That was really amazing. I want to share your stories on the making of my podcast.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much. I had a great time. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you, sir. So for those who want to connect with you, either to connect with you on various other platforms, or for those who are the employees who want to reach out and connect with you, how can they reach out and where's the best platform?
My email is best, Darren at ashes2ascent.com. My website is ashes2ascent.com. And on Instagram, ashes_ascent_coaching.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And
Yeah,
any which way to reach out, I'm happy to meet with people. I honestly, I offer a free introductory session for coaching to see if coaching is right for the
yeah,
individual or if we're a good match. So I would love to offer one free session to try it out.
yeah. Thank you so much, Darren. Wow, this has really been amazing. And for more who love to reach out, check the show notes to see the link to his and one of his social media. Yeah, your is a reminder that limitation handed to us by circumstance are not always the final word, and that the mindset forged in our hardest moments can carry us through every hard that follow, from a crushed foot at 13 to a 2 decades of service to rising twice from rock bottom. You are a proof that you can achieve into set again and again. Once again, it's a pleasure and honor have you on the show, Darren.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
thank you.